Good morning, dear learners. Wish you a very happy day. This is Shurmila Choudhury, Assistant Teacher English, Nasirabad Government High School, Chattogram. Today I am going to take an English first paper class for the students of class 9. Dear students, I welcome you all to my today's class and hope all of you are fine and safe at home. Well, in our last few classes, we were discussing about Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. We were talking how he was arrested on the night of 25th March 1971, how he was taken to Pakistan as a prisoner and how he was treated there. We also saw how did his family suffer during his arrest and after the liberation how he was released. We saw after his release, he was first taken to London on 7 January 1972. Today we will continue. We will see how he came back to our country and what was the situation and the atmosphere of that time in our country and how he was welcomed by our people. So dear student, please open your EFT book, come to page number 7. And see, the title of our today's lesson is The Tale of Homecoming Part 2. So dear students, let's come to the topic. See, read the following text by the same author that describes Bangabandhu's a few more hours of journey towards home. Bangabandhu left London for Dhaka on the 9th January evening in 1972. Bangabandhu left London for Dhaka on 9th January evening in 1972. On the way, he would stop over in Delhi. Stop over means to stop somewhere for a short time during journey. He was welcomed at Delhi's Palam Airport in the morning of 10th January by President V.B. Giri, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, West Bengal politician Siddhartha Shankar Rai and the chiefs of the Indian Armed Forces. Bangabandhu stayed in Delhi for about 2 hours. During this time, he addressed a public rally and mesmerized everyone. Mesmerized means to fascinate. He delivered a speech before a public rally and mesmerized, that means fascinated everyone. There he wholeheartedly thanked Mrs. Gandhi. That means he sincerely thanked Mrs. Gandhi, the people and the politicians of India. Why? For their tremendous help they had provided to Bangladesh and its 10 million refugees. So dear students, this is the end of the first para of this passage. Now we will see what have we learned from this para. Okay. Let's come to the board. See, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman our Bangabandhu. What have we learned from here? Our Bangabandhu left London. Our Bangabandhu left London for Dhaka when? On 9th January 1972 in the evening. Okay. Then he stopped over. What is stop over? To stop somewhere for a short time during journey. He stopped over in Delhi Airport. Okay, Delhi Palam Airport. Then he was welcomed there. He was welcomed at Palam Airport by the President and the Prime Minister and the high officials of India. After that, he stayed in Delhi for about 2 hours. For about 2 hours. Okay. Then, one important point we missed, that is, he left London for Dhaka on 9th January 1972 in the evening, but he reached Delhi. He reached Delhi on 10th January in the morning. Okay, so our Bangabandhu left London for Dhaka on 9th January 1972 in the evening. Then he reached Delhi on 10th January 1972 in the morning. Then his stopover in Delhi was welcomed at Palam Airport, and he stayed in Delhi for about 2 hours. Okay, now we will try to solve some important question from this para. My first question for you: how was Bangabandhu welcomed in Delhi? Okay, how was Bangabandhu welcomed in Delhi airport? Okay, so see the answer. In Delhi airport, Bangabandhu was welcomed warmly Okay, the President the Prime Minister the other politicians along with the chiefs of the armed forces, Indian armed forces, came to the airport to welcome him. So in Delhi airport, Bangabandhu was welcomed warmly. The President, the Prime Minister, the other politicians, along with the chiefs of the Indian armed forces, came to the airport to welcome him. This is the question number 1. Now we will do question number 2, and this is: why did Bangabandhu thank Mrs. Gandhi and her people? So dear student, let's try it. Okay, see, I have already written the question for you. My question for you is: why did Bangabandhu thank Mrs. Gandhi and her people? Okay, let's see the answer. Bangabandhu delivered a speech in a public meeting. Delivered a speech in a public in a public meeting, okay, in his speech, he thanked Mrs. Gandhi the then Prime Minister of India and her people why? As they helped Bangladesh greatly, Bangladesh greatly when? During the liberation war. During the liberation war, and gave shelter to 1 crore refugees. 1 crore refugees during that time. Okay, during that time. So Bangabandhu delivered a speech in a public meeting. In his speech, he thanked Mrs. Gandhi and her people. Why? As they helped Bangladesh greatly during the liberation war and gave shelter to 1 crore refugee during that time. Okay, 1 crore refugee during that time. I think it is clear. My third question for you is, what was the effect of Bangabandhu's speech in Delhi? Okay, what was the effect of Bangabandhu's speech in Delhi? See, I have already written that question for you. What was the effect of Bangabandhu's speech in Delhi? Okay, see the answer. Bangabandhu stayed in Delhi for 2 hours. For 2 hours. Okay. During that period, or during this time, he addressed a public meeting. Sorry, he addressed a public rally, not meeting. He addressed a public rally, and it was so hypnotizing. It was so fascinating. It was so hypnotizing. So hypnotizing that everyone present there was mesmerized. Mesmerized means fascinated. Mesmerized. Okay, so Bangabandhu stayed in Delhi for 2 hours, and during that period, during that time, he addressed a public rally, and it was so hypnotizing. That means his speech was so hypnotizing, so fascinating that everyone present in that rally was mesmerized, was fascinated. Okay. So, dear students, I think up to here it is clear to you Now we will go to the second para of this passage. Okay, the second para. Then it was on to Dhaka. That means now Bangabandhu was on his way to Dhaka, where millions of people had begun to crowd the route that their leader would pass, and the racecourse Maidan where the leader would deliver a speech before going home. On the tarmac at Tejgaon Airport, soldiers of the Indian Army and the Mukti Bahini were on standby to present Bangladesh President with a guard of honor. On the tarmac at Tejgaon Airport, tarmac means the area in a airport, soldiers of the Indian Army and the Mukti Bahini were on standby. They were standing. Why? To present Bangladesh President the guard of honor. Members of the wartime cabinet waited in the winter sun, as did a horde of newsmen. Horde of newsmen means a group of journalists. So members of the wartime cabinet as well as the group of journalists were also present under the winter sun. Sometime after 1:30 p.m., the Comet aircraft made available to Bangabandhu by the British government landed in Dhaka. So the most waited time came. It was on 1:30 p.m. when Bangabandhu landed on Bangladesh. Okay, this is the end of the second para of this passage. Now we will see how did the Bangalis welcome Bangabandhu. Okay, now how did the Bangalis welcome Bangabandhu? See, my fourth question for you. How did the Bangalis welcome Bangabandhu? This question is related to our second para. Okay, second para of this passage. So the answer, Bangalis were, we know, Bangalis were enthusiastically enthusiastically, that means eagerly. Bangalis were enthusiastically waiting to welcome Bangalis were eagerly waiting to welcome Bangabandhu. And when Bangabandhu arrived, when Bangabandhu arrived, at the Tejgaon Airport in Dhaka, millions of people had begun to crowd to see the great leader and to listen to his speech, listen to his speech. Soldiers of the Indian Army and the Mukti Bahini soldiers of the Indian Army and the Mukti Bahini were ready to present him with guard of honor. guard of honor. Okay, so Bangalis were enthusiastically waiting to welcome Bangabandhu, and when Bangabandhu arrived at the Tejgaon airport, millions of people had begun to crowd to see the leader and to listen to his speech. Soldiers of the Indian Army and the Mukti Bahini were ready to present him with guard of honor. We also see members of the wartime cabinet and a group of journalists were also present to welcome Bangabandhu. Okay, so dear students, I think up to here it is clear to you. Now we will come to the third para of this passage. Okay, as soon as the doors of the aircraft opened, Bangabandhu appeared. It was clear he had lost weight due to imprisonment for nearly 10 months in a Pakistani prison. A big smile appeared on his face as he swept back his hair with his right hand. Okay, swept back his hair with his right hand. Prime Minister Tajuddin Ahmed then moved forward and buried his head in his leader's chest. Tajuddin Ahmed moved forward to welcome Bangabandhu and kept his head on his leader's chest. Both men broke down. That means both men became emotional. Their tears soon led to moist eyes in nearly everyone else present around them. Everybody burst into tears out of emotion. Okay. Once the formalities at the airport were completed, the father of the nation climbed on a board of an open truck with the Mujibnagar government figures and the student leaders crowding around him. He headed for the racecourse Maidan. He was going to racecourse Maidan. Why? To deliver a speech there. Okay, so this is the end of the third para. Now we will see what have we learned from this para. Okay, so my next question for you that is very much related to this para of this passage is, how did Bangabandhu go to the racecourse Maidan? Okay, now the answer is Bangabandhu went to the racecourse Maidan Bangabandhu went to the racecourse Maidan on an open truck. On an open truck. Okay. The members of the wartime cabinet, the members of the Mujibnagar government and the student leaders were with him on the truck. Were with him on the truck. Bangabandhu went to the racecourse Maidan on an open truck, and the members of the Mujibnagar government as well as the student leaders of that time were with him on the truck. So now come to the fourth para. Okay, the 2-mile stretch of road would take the procession almost 3 hours to cover. At the racecourse, Bangabandhu wept, remembering the sacrifices of the Bangalis had made in the war against Pakistan. He told how the military junta had tried to intimidate, means frighten him during his trial. He said, I told them I am a Bengali and a Muslim who only dies once. I would walk the gallows with head held high. Do you know gallows? Gallows means place for hanging criminals. Okay. I would walk gallows with head held high. The father of the nation remarked, the Bangalis had become the golden children of the golden Bengal. Quoting the poet Rabindranath Tagore, who once had complained that the people of Bengal had remained mere Bangalis but were yet to become true human beings. Mujib told the jubilant crowd that the poet had been proved wrong. Come back, O poet, he intoned dramatically, and see how your Bangalis are today transformed into worthy men. So we have already finished the fourth para, and this para is very important. We will do a lot of questions related to this para. Okay, now come to the fifth and the last para. Moments later, as dusk and a winter haze settled over Dhaka, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman made his way back to his family, who had been waiting for him at the house in Dhanmondi, Road 32, where they had been kept under house arrest by the Pakistan army throughout the course of the War of Liberation. So, after all, Bangabandhu back to his home, and he reached Dhanmondi Road 32, where his family was eagerly waiting to meet him. Okay, so now, dear students, come to our question answer. We will do two questions, two or three, related to the the fourth and the fifth para of this passage. Okay. Okay, my sixth question for you, and this one is very important for you. This is, why did Bangabandhu say that Bangalis had become the golden children of the golden Bengal? Okay, so the answer is, under the leadership of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, under the leadership of Bangabandhu, the people of our country, people of our country made sacrifices. Why? To liberate our country, and ultimately we became independent. Ultimately, it became independent. Bangabandhu termed them golden sun. Bangabandhu termed them golden sun. Why? Because of their sacrifice. Golden sun, because of their sacrifice. Because of their supreme sacrifice in the liberation war. Okay. Under the leadership of Bangabandhu, the people of our country made sacrifices to liberate our country, and ultimately it became independent. Bangabandhu termed them golden sun because of their supreme sacrifice in the liberation war. So now we will go to question number 7. See, my seventh and the last question for you is, why did Bangabandhu tell that Rabindranath Tagore had been proved wrong? Okay, so what is the answer? The poet Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore once complained that the people of the Bengal had remained mere Bangalis, but were yet to become true human being. True human being. But the people of Bangladesh had sacrificed their lives. And achieved the independence. And proved that they were true human beings. That's why Bangabandhu told that Rabindranath Tagore had been proved wrong. So, the poet Rabindranath Tagore once complained that the people of Bengal had remained mere Bangalis, but were yet to become true human beings. But the people of Bangladesh had sacrificed their lives in the liberation war and achieved the independence and proved that they were true human beings. This is the reason why Bangabandhu told that Rabindranath Tagore had been proved wrong. So dear students, I think up to here it is clear to you. Now we will do a fill in the blanks related to this topic. I have already written a passage for you with some gaps. Now we will fill the gaps of this passage. Okay. Bangabandhu arrived dash Delhi on January 10. Bangabandhu arrived in Delhi on January 10. There he was welcomed dash. There he was welcomed warmly. There he was welcomed warmly by the President and the Prime Minister. Other politicians also dash him. Other politicians also welcomed him. Welcomed him. He dashed the crowd. He addressed. He addressed the crowd. His speech charmed everyone who was present there. Who was present there. So Bangabandhu arrived in Delhi on January 10. There he was welcomed warmly by the President and the Prime Minister. Other politicians also welcomed him. He addressed the crowd. His speech charmed everyone who was present there. So dear students, this is the end of today's class. I hope you have enjoyed this class. See you in my next class. Till then, goodbye.